I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Regarding the recordings that are made of your talks, when I can't attend a class because of back pain or whatever, I often watch a day or two later. And my question is, when I'm watching the recordings of you, should I be doing the double breathing technique?
Well, it would be a good idea if, because those talks are just energy flowing through. And if you do your inner work, your double breathing exercise, you'll be able to take in that Shakti, that energy. In fact, you will learn more doing the double breathing while watching those videos than listening to it in your brain, trying to understand it in your head. Because you'll take in the energy, it'll find a real place inside you. And then it will come up when you need it, when you need to, utilize whatever's being taught there, it will come up for you. So I would suggest, yes, it's a very good place to do your double breathing exercise. Because when I give these talks, it's not me talking, it's just energy that comes through me. And that energy can be very powerful, very deep, very nourishing. And if you truly open the chakra system, it'll really help you to grow. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, I must have sat through, 10,000 talks Rudy gave. I cannot remember in my head one of them. And that's true. Every single one of them is inside me. And they all manifest exactly when I need them, because I sat and did my inner work while he talked. I didn't sit there and listen and logically try to understand it. And, I got an argument with this point and that, it's all bullshit to me. It was just energy. And that energy found a home inside me. And literally every single one of his talks is there. And yet if I try to think back and remember, I can't do it. Frankly, it was all too big for my head anyway, I was better going deep in myself and opening and using the double breathing to absorb what he had to teach. So I would suggest doing that. I think it's a very good way to take in Shakti, energy. It's like sitting with a picture of a teacher. You do your double breathing exercise. And that teacher's in a state of meditation, that energy will flow right through into you. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. I hope you're feeling better, Christina.
The talks are helping.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, Rudy talked about feel your own value. I heard him talk about that, and it really had a beautiful ring. Could you speak to that?
Well, you have to start somewhere, Wendy. And the place you really need to begin is your own value. You're worthy of having a spiritual life. You're worthy of being a happy person. You're worthy of being more than somebody who gets depressed and miserable and unhappy. You understand, you're worthy of being successful in the world. You're worthy of having money, having a nice place to live, having all of this stuff starts inside us when, as Rudy said, when we value ourselves, when there's self-worth. I mean, if you're down on yourself all the time, then nothing is going to happen. So this is the beginning point, is ground zero of a spiritual life, is developing self-value, being worthy of being a child of God. How are you worthy of being a child? It's what you contribute to situations, to your own life, to your family. That's how you become worthy. And you can only do that if you have self-worth. If you yourself recognize that I am worthy of having an amazing life. We all are worth of having an amazing life. But one has to feel it profoundly in themselves and allow it to blossom inside. So self-worth is the key. It is literally the ground zero place, that a human being has to start in order to build a system inside that can truly have a spiritual life. Because without it, nothing works. If you're always down on yourself, negative about yourself, nothing works except you're going to be a miserable person all your life. So what he talked about is absolutely the key, the fundamental, the thing we have to start with, and I think, it's an important thing to live with. I mean, when I was a young man, I was very down on myself, down on the world. I once I was leaving New York, taking a ship to Rotterdam in Holland. I was 25 years old. I wrote a little poem that I will never come back to New York again. Goodbye, New York. It's finished. I felt so unhappy in myself and so distraught and not having a place that I could find in my life that enabled me to connect with God, to connect with the world. And it's all I wanted. And that had to turn around. And the day I found that self-worth, my spiritual life began. The chakra system began to develop on a very high level. I always enjoyed part of living in a more refined life and, buying art objects, living with beautiful things was always an important element to my life. Having Buddhist art, Hindu art around me, even, old masters and stuff like that. It was always an important part of my life. And then it became a reality when I discovered I can go buy these things and live with them. And I look around and I see all this stuff. And oh my God, it's of a wonderful, refined nature. It's a constant reminder of what it means to have a spiritual life. So, all kinds of things you can do in life to, allow your self-worth to manifest around you. Just even cleaning your house or apartment, it's a big, big level. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Sure. I have a question.
Yes.
Can you talk about the association between Kundalini and enlightenment?
Well, one is essential to the other. Kundalini is an essential ingredient to attaining a state of enlightenment. Kundalini is an energy force that literally is asleep at the base of a human being's spine. And by activating it through being centered in the hara, drawing energy through the sexual chakra to the base of the spine, Kundalini becomes, it's like a rocket ship to enlightenment. It becomes, the guiding force that will take you to a state of enlightenment, that will bring you into the crown chakra, your soul. And the crown chakra opens and one, really becomes one with higher energy or enlightenment. So Kundalini is essential for this. It's an essential ingredient, but Kundalini is also an extremely powerful force, and it's nothing to be played around with. A person has to build a system inside that is strong enough to be able to deal with Kundalini. Now, I always, when I didn't do it with you, Sung, but I usually do it when people come to study with me. I tell them that there are three aspects of this meditation. The first one is being open inside you so you can draw down spiritual energy. Spiritual energy is not some tweedly-dee, tweedly-dum kind of energy force. This is infinite energy in the universe. It's the most powerful force in the universe. And if we don't have the system to absorb it and open and to allow it to exist inside us, two things can happen. It'll just flow right past us, or it can come inside and it can burn us up. So you have to develop the chakra system to receive that spiritual energy. The second element is life itself, which we all know is kind of a half-crazed, powerful thing that we try to understand and we never understand, and it makes most everybody crazy. Karma is a really powerful force. We need to have a strong system inside to be able to open to life and interact with life with love, with compassion, kindness, generosity, patience, forgiveness. The system of a human being has to be very strong because innocence by itself will get trampled by life. It's not strong enough to deal with the kind of negativity that runs rampant in this world. And the third element is Kundalini, which is the pathway to enlightenment, a very powerful force of energy that, that truly will burn up, all your karma, your humanity, your everything, transform one's whole self into spirit, ultimately into enlightenment. And it's a force that the soul rides into the cosmos and becomes one with God. All three of these forces are very powerful. And it's one of the reasons I focus so profoundly on the development of a chakra system, because I don't think anybody in this world can deal with any of those forces, at least in a healthy way, unless their chakra system, unless they are truly grounded in the hara, the heart is open, the mind is quiet, their chakra system is highly developed inside them. That will enable one to activate Kundalini. I mean, if you want to, I gave a talk this afternoon. I have a European and Mideastern class at 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in New York or in Connecticut. And I gave a talk that you might be interested. I would suggest going and finding it on Facebook because it was all about this. It was about sexual energy and, how sexual energy transforms the human to the spiritual by activating Kundalini. And I think it would be a very interesting talk for you to go and listen to. And you can find it. It's like what Christine said on these videos, that they produce. Every one of my talks is, it's like a library of all the things that I speak about. And it's the last one. It was done this afternoon. It's very profound. And I think it would really help you to understand that in depth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, can you talk a little bit about the balance between detachment and being in the world and managing your detachment?
Well, they're not separate things, detachment and being in the world. They're completely married to each other. In fact, you can only deal with this life in a conscious way if you're detached from it. Detachment doesn't mean you run away from life. It doesn't mean you turn away from your responsibilities. What it means is you live in the world, and at the same time, the world doesn't have you. It's not sucking your energy out of you as it sucks the energy out of most people. Most people are consumed by life. They're 30, 40, 50 years old. They have, they have breakdowns. They have, they fall apart. And why? Because life is draining their energy out of them. So you build a system inside, which is something I repeat endlessly, that gives you the capacity not to be drained by life. You do life, but you're not drained by it. You have the capacity to detach yourself from all the madness that goes on in the world. You have the capacity to make money and to be free of money. You have the capacity, you understand, to have things. Like Rudy always used to tell me, he says, not to have, it's to have and to be free of what you have. And that's detachment. So these things are not antithetical to each other. They work perfectly with each other, being detached and being able to live in the world. Because being detached doesn't mean you walk away or you hide from life. It means you're a warrior living life. It's like these samurai, they're trained, for years to develop the capacity to be free of both life and death. It's nobility of soul. And that really is what, doing inner work is all about, building that kind of capacity. So you can be a warrior, you can be a person living in the world, you can have success, you can have everything, the wonderful things life has to offer you. At the same time, none of it has you. And how do you do that? You don't do that by cutting yourself off from life. You do it by building a system inside that makes you strong enough to do it. And of course, it's all dependent upon the third chakra, the hara, having that highly developed, and the chi, that power in a human being that enables them to be in the world and to be free of the world. I mean, I couldn't live any other way, honestly, I mean, I've been in monasteries, I've run ashrams, I've lived in none of it made sense to me. I always felt, no, this is not right for me. To me, life was the temple. How do I build an inner life that is strong enough to be able to live in that temple without that temple destroying me? How can I find everything around me sacred? Well, I had to be free of me. I had to be strong enough to be detached from all these things so I can see clearly what's an illusion, what's real, all this stuff. And this meditation is about that, You got to be attached to some things, so you might as well be attached to God, because that'll keep you surrendering for the rest of your life, just that. You're surrendering for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? So just to finish, it's not to cut yourself off from the world. The greatest temple we have is life itself. To be able to live in this world and be strong enough inside, building the system inside that is strong enough to be free of this world. I mean, people think money buys security. It doesn't. I got enough money in my life to know that it doesn't buy security. All it makes you do is want to make more money. Not that one shouldn't have money. Money is a great thing. It provides a wonderful life for human beings, but not to get attached to it. And that's not something that you can, put down, jot, I'm not going to be attached. I'm not going to be attached today. It doesn't work. You have to steadily, daily work on yourself to build an inner life that is strong enough to do it. And it takes time. You have to have patience with all the things that will manifest from between point A and point B. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, hi.
Yes.
Do you think that it would be good to try sitting on the floor in lotus position sometime? Or do you think it would drive most of us crazy?
I don't think one or the other. I think it's up to you. Why would lotus position drive you crazy?
Because your class is an hour and a half.
Don't do it. Your legs might start hurting, you this and that. That's why I tell people to sit on a chair, or a cow, wherever you're sitting. But if you can sit for an hour and a half or an hour on lotus, then do it. When I sat with Rudy, I used to sit, I didn't sit in lotus, but half lotus position.
Yeah.
I would
There's
sit.
something opening about the lower chakras, I think, when you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I have nothing against you. You're not going to make yourself crazy. If you can manage to do it, if you without your legs falling off. But nothing wrong with that. There's no conflict between sitting in lotus position and sitting on a chair.
I'll give it a try because I remember years ago, I think we were all on the floor when I did a weekend workshop with you. No one sat on chairs.
So try it.
Yeah.
If your legs start hurting and you have to move, just do it very quietly. Don't disrupt the class, that's all.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be a meditation class on Sunday. And, I'm looking forward to seeing you all. And as I always end these classes, maybe you're tired of hearing me say this, but I'm not tired of saying it. So I will tell you, I am very grateful to every single person that attends these classes. All of you have really helped me to grow in a very profound and real way in my life. And these classes have been like an amazing miracle. And I'm very grateful to all of you and thankful that I can come here and do this and see you all, that you all come and do this and work hard on yourselves and really demand of me a deep and real effort to make the class the best thing I can possibly make it. So God bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Sunday. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.